She left me broke. A week later, I was a millionaire. You know what's funny about life? One day you think you have it all figured out, and the next, everything just falls apart. I'm talking about the kind of fall that changes you forever. The kind that makes you question everything you believed in. Love, trust, family, all of it. I was 37 when it happened. Married to Sarah for almost 8 years. We had a beautiful home, a decent life, and I thought we were solid. I really did. She was my partner, you know, the person I shared everything with. Every dream, every fear, every dollar I made. I trusted her with my life. But here's the thing about trust. It's like glass. Once it's shattered, you can never put it back together the same way. It started on a regular Tuesday morning. I remember because I had just gotten back from a business trip. I worked in tech sales back then, traveling around, closing deals, making good money. Not rich, but comfortable. We weren't struggling. We had savings, investments, a nice little nest egg we were building together for our future. I came home early that morning, wanted to surprise Sarah. Maybe take her out for breakfast, spend some time together. I'd been gone for almost a week, and I missed her. I really did. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet. Her car was in the driveway, so I knew she was home. I called out her name. No answer. I figured maybe she was still sleeping, so I went upstairs. That's when I saw it. Suitcases. 3 large suitcases packed and sitting by our bedroom door. My heart started racing. What the hell was going on? I found Sarah in our home office, sitting at the desk with her laptop open and a bunch of papers spread out in front of her. She looked up when I walked in, and man, the look on her face. It wasn't surprise. It wasn't guilt. It was cold, like she'd been expecting this. "Sarah, what's going on?" I asked. "Why are there suitcases packed?" She closed her laptop slowly and looked at me. "I'm leaving, Jake." Just like that. 3 words. 8 years of marriage, and that's all she said. "I'm leaving." I stood there trying to process what I was hearing. "What do you mean you're leaving? What happened? Did I do something? Talk to me." She shook her head. "It's not working anymore. I'm not happy. I haven't been happy in a long time." "Not happy?" This was the first I was hearing about it. "We never fought. We talked about everything. Or at least I thought we did." "Sarah, if something's wrong, we can fix it. We can go to counseling, we can—" "I don't want to fix it," she interrupted. "I want out. I've already made up my mind." The way she said it, so final, so detached, like I was nothing, like what we had was nothing. I felt my chest tighten. "Is there someone else?" She didn't answer right away, and that silence, that told me everything. "Who is it?" I asked, my voice cracking. "That doesn't matter," she said, standing up. "What matters is that I'm done, and I need you to sign these papers." She pushed a stack of documents across the desk toward me. Divorce papers. She'd already had them drawn up, already planned this whole thing while I was out there working, trying to build a future for us. I picked up the papers, my hands shaking, and then I saw it. The financial settlement she was proposing. She wanted half of everything. The house, the savings, the investments, everything we'd built together. But here's the kicker. Most of that money? I'd earned it. I'd worked my ass off for years while she stayed home claiming she was working on her online business that never seemed to make any money. "You want half?" I said, looking up at her. "Sarah, I worked for this. I traveled, I closed deals, I built—" "It's community property," she cut me off. "California law. I'm entitled to half. My lawyer already confirmed it." Her lawyer. She already had a lawyer. How long had she been planning this? "I'm not signing this," I said, putting the papers down. She smiled. Actually smiled. "You don't have a choice, Jake. If you don't sign, we'll go to court, and you'll lose even more. Legal fees, time, stress. Just sign the papers, and let's get this over with." I looked at this woman, this person I'd shared my life with, and I didn't recognize her. The Sarah I married had been kind, loving, supportive. This person standing in front of me, she was a stranger. Before I tell you what happened next, hit that subscribe button real quick. Trust me, you'll want to hear how this ends. I left the office without signing anything. I needed time to think, to process what was happening. But Sarah? She wasn't waiting around. That same day, while I was out trying to clear my head, she moved out, took her suitcases and left. Just like that. I came home to an empty house. Well, not completely empty. She'd left me the furniture, the basics. But here's what she did take: in our joint bank account. Completely drained. Every penny we had saved together, gone. Almost $45,000. Just transferred out. I called her immediately. "Sarah, what the hell? You emptied our account." "I told you," she said calmly. "I'm entitled to half. I just took what's mine." "Half would be $22,000, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You took everything. Consider it an advance on the settlement," she said. "You'll get the rest sorted out with the lawyers." And then she hung up. Just hung up on me. I sat there in my empty house, staring at my phone, and I felt hollow, like someone had reached inside me and ripped everything out. The woman I loved, the life I'd built, my savings, all of it, gone. But you want to know what the worst part was? I found out who she left me for. My buddy Marcus called me that evening. He'd heard through mutual friends. Sarah had been seeing someone for months, someone I knew. David Chen, my former business partner. We'd started a tech consulting company together years ago before I got into sales. It didn't work out, so we dissolved the partnership amicably. Or so I thought. He'd moved on, started his own thing. We'd stayed friendly, had dinner together sometimes. Sarah, me, David, and his wife. His wife. Yeah, he was married too. And apparently he and Sarah had been having an affair behind both our backs. I felt sick, betrayed by my wife and someone I'd considered a friend. It was like a double gut punch. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I just sat in that empty house, trying to figure out where everything went wrong, trying to understand how I didn't see this coming. Then I got a call from my lawyer. I'd hired one immediately after Sarah left because I knew I needed someone in my corner. He gave me the bad news. Sarah's lawyer was pushing hard. They wanted the house, half the retirement accounts, spousal support, the works. "How much are we talking?" I asked. "If they get everything they're asking for, you're looking at losing about $200,000 in total assets, plus monthly support payments, $200,000. I felt my stomach drop. That was everything I'd worked for, everything. "What are my options?" I asked. "We can fight it," he said, "but it's going to be expensive. And with California's community property laws, honestly, Jake, they have a strong case." I hung up feeling defeated, broken, financially ruined before we'd even started the legal battle. But then something happened, something I didn't expect. I got a call from an old colleague, Tom. We'd worked together years ago and we'd kept in touch occasionally. He'd moved on to a startup, some tech company working on AI solutions for businesses. "Jake," he said when I answered. "Man, I heard about what happened with Sarah. I'm really sorry. Word travels fast, I guess." "Yeah, it's been rough," I said. "Look, I'm calling because I have something that might interest you," Tom said. "Our company is looking for a sales director, someone who understands the tech space and can close big deals." I immediately thought of you. I wasn't really in the headspace to think about job opportunities, but I listened anyway. Tom explained that his company, Next Gen AI, had developed some revolutionary software for data analytics. They had the product, but they needed someone who could sell it to major corporations. "The base salary is decent," Tom said, "but here's the real opportunity. We're offering equity, stock options. If you can help us land some major contracts and grow this thing, you could make serious money when we go public." Equity, stock options. In my state of mind, it sounded too good to be true. But what did I have to lose? My marriage was over, my savings were gone, and I was facing a massive legal battle. "When can I start?" I asked. Tom laughed. "That's what I wanted to hear. How about next week?" I started at NextGen with nothing to lose and everything to prove. I threw myself into the work. It was the only thing that kept me from spiraling completely. I didn't think about Sarah, didn't think about David, didn't think about the divorce. I just worked. And man, that product, it was incredible. The AI software could analyze massive amounts of business data and provide insights that would take humans weeks to figure out. I believed in it. I could sell it because I genuinely thought it was revolutionary. My first week there, I landed a meeting with a mid-sized tech firm, pitched them our solution. They signed on. $50,000 contract. Tom was ecstatic. The company was ecstatic. And I just kept going. One deal turned into two. Two turned into five. I was closing contracts left and right, and companies were starting to take notice of NextGen. Big companies, Fortune 500 companies. Then I got my shot at the big one. A meeting with Meridian Corp, one of the largest financial institutions in the country. If I could land them, it would change everything. I prepared for weeks, studied their business model, understood their pain points, crafted a presentation that showed exactly how our AI could save them millions in operational costs. I walked into that boardroom with confidence I didn't even know I still had. The presentation went perfectly. The executives were asking all the right questions, nodding at all the right moments. I could feel it. This was going to happen. At the end of the meeting, their CEO stood up and shook my hand. "Jake, this is impressive. We want in. Let's talk numbers." Numbers. They wanted a comprehensive package, implementation, training, support, the whole deal. When we finally agreed on the contract value, I almost couldn't believe it. $3.2 million. The biggest deal NextGen had ever landed. The biggest deal I'd ever landed. When I got back to the office, Tom was waiting for me. I told him the news, and he actually hugged me. "You did it, man. You actually did it." But here's where it gets really interesting. Because of that Meridian deal, other major players started reaching out. They wanted what Meridian had. Within weeks, I'd closed 3 more major contracts. NextGen's valuation skyrocketed. The board of directors called an emergency meeting. They wanted to fast-track the company's IPO, take it public while the momentum was hot. And Tom made sure I was taken care of. He increased my equity stake as a bonus for the Meridian deal. Then the IPO happened. NextGen went public and the stock exploded. It opened at $38 a share and climbed to $72 in the first week. My stock options, they were suddenly worth, I did the math over and over because I couldn't believe it, $1.3 million. $1.3 million. I was a millionaire. Me. The guy who'd been broken just weeks earlier. The guy whose wife had left him with nothing. I sat in my empty house that night, staring at my portfolio on my laptop, and I just laughed. I laughed until I cried, because the universe had just handed me the most poetic justice I could have imagined. But I wasn't done yet. See, the divorce was still ongoing. Sarah and her lawyer were still fighting for half of everything, but everything had changed now. My financial situation had completely transformed, and I had to be smart about this. I called my lawyer immediately. "We need to talk strategy," I said. "Here's the thing about divorce law in California. Any assets acquired during the marriage are community property, but income and assets acquired after separation, those are separate property." And Sarah had left me. She'd moved out, filed for divorce, established the separation date. My NextGen stock options had vested after that date, after we were legally separated, which meant, "That money is yours," my lawyer said when I explained the situation. "She has no claim to it." I felt a weight lift off my chest. Sarah had walked away thinking she'd taken everything from me. She'd drained our accounts, left me with nothing, thinking I'd be struggling while she started her new life with David. She had no idea what was coming. The divorce proceedings continued. Sarah's lawyer kept pushing for the house, for spousal support, for everything they'd originally demanded, and I let them think they were winning. I didn't mention NextGen. I didn't mention the stock. I kept my cards close to my chest. Then came the settlement hearing. We were in mediation, and Sarah showed up looking confident. She was dressed nice, hair done, smiling like she'd already won. David wasn't there, of course. He was too much of a coward to show his face. Her lawyer laid out their demands: the house, retirement accounts, and $12,000 a year in spousal support for 3 years. My lawyer countered, and we went back and forth. Finally, the mediator suggested a compromise. Sarah would get the house, but she'd have to buy out my half. She'd get a portion of the retirement accounts, but no spousal support. It was still a hit, but nothing compared to what I'd gained. Sarah looked at me across that table, and I could see she was calculating, thinking she'd bled me dry, and now she was getting the house too. She agreed to the settlement. We signed the papers. Just like that, the marriage was over. Sarah got the house and walked away thinking she'd won. But here's what she didn't know. That house? It had a massive mortgage, almost $300,000 left on it. She'd have to refinance it in her name only, and with her credit and income, Good luck with that. And me? I walked away with my freedom and over $1 million in assets she didn't even know existed. I left that mediation feeling lighter than I had in months. The nightmare was over. I'd survived it. More than survived. I'd come out on top. But I wasn't satisfied yet, because I wanted Sarah to know. I wanted her to understand exactly what she'd thrown away, not because I wanted her back. God, no. But because she needed to see that leaving me the way she did, taking everything, betraying me, it had consequences. I waited a few weeks, let the dust settle. Then I did something I probably shouldn't have, but I don't regret it. I bought a penthouse. A beautiful modern penthouse in downtown San Francisco, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the bay. It cost me a fraction of what I had, but it was stunning, the kind of place Sarah had always dreamed about. Then I threw a housewarming party, invited everyone we knew, all our mutual friends, former colleagues, Tom and the next-gen team, everyone, and I made sure someone would mention it to Sarah, because I knew she'd hear about it. The party was amazing. People were impressed by the place, asking how I could afford it. I just smiled and said, business was good, really good. Word got back to Sarah within days. Marcus called me laughing. Man, Sarah's losing it. She heard about your place and she's been calling everyone trying to figure out how you suddenly have money. Really? I said, playing innocent. She thinks you were hiding assets during the divorce, Marcus said. She's furious. I smiled. Let her be furious. Everything I'd earned was legitimate, earned after she left, completely separate from the marriage. She couldn't touch it. But then I heard something else. Something that made everything even sweeter. David's wife had found out about the affair. She'd filed for divorce too, and she wasn't being as nice as I'd been. She was taking David to the cleaners. Half his business, spousal support, child support for their 2 kids, everything. And David's business? It wasn't doing well. He was facing financial problems, struggling to keep up with his expenses, and now a costly divorce on top of it, which meant Sarah had left a financially stable marriage for a guy who was now broke and drowning in legal fees. The irony was almost too perfect. I ran into Sarah a few months later. It was accidental. We ended up at the same restaurant. She was there with David, and they both looked stressed, tired, like life wasn't going the way they'd planned. She saw me walk in, and her eyes went wide. I was dressed well, confident, with a date, a woman I'd been seeing casually. Nothing serious, but it felt good to be moving on. Sarah got up and walked over to my table. David stayed seated, looking uncomfortable. "Jake," she said, "can we talk?" "Sure," I said, keeping my tone neutral. My date excused herself to the restroom, giving us a moment. Sarah sat down across from me. "I heard about your new place and your job. Sounds like you're doing really well." "I am," I said simply. She looked down at her hands. "Look, I know things ended badly between us, and I know I hurt you. I want you to know I'm sorry. I handled everything wrong. An apology." After everything she'd put me through, she was apologizing, but I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't really sorry for hurting me. She was sorry that leaving me hadn't worked out the way she thought it would. "Sarah," I said, leaning forward, "you didn't just hurt me. You betrayed me. You took everything we built together and threw it away for—" "What? Him?" I gestured toward David, who was pretending not to watch us. She didn't say anything. "You wanted out because you weren't happy," I continued. "Fine. But you didn't just leave. You emptied our accounts, demanded everything in the divorce, tried to ruin me financially. You thought you were leaving me with nothing." "I know," she said quietly. "I was angry and bitter, and I made mistakes." "Yeah, you did," I agreed. "But you know what? You actually did me a favor. Because when you left, when you took everything, you forced me to rebuild. You forced me to prove to myself that I didn't need you. And I rebuilt something better than what we had." She looked up at me, and I could see tears in her eyes. "I messed up, Jake, I know I did. David and it's not working. He's going through his own divorce, and it's messy, and we're both struggling financially. The house is too expensive. I can't keep up with the mortgage payments, and I don't know what to do." For a moment, just a moment, I felt bad for her. But then I remembered how she'd looked at me that day in the office. How cold she'd been. How she'd smiled when she told me I had no choice but to give her everything. That's not my problem anymore, Sarah, I said. You made your choices. Now you have to live with them. My date came back, and Sarah stood up. I hope you're happy, Jake. I really do. I am, I said, and I meant it. She walked back to David and I watched them leave shortly after. They looked defeated, like life had beaten them down. And honestly, I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, no pity. Just nothing. They were strangers to me now. My date asked if I was okay and I smiled. Yeah, I'm great, really great. And I was. Because I'd taken the worst moment of my life and turned it into the best thing that ever happened to me. I'd lost a marriage, but I'd gained my freedom. I'd lost my savings, but I'd made millions. I'd lost people I thought I could trust, but I'd found out what I was really capable of. Looking back now, I realized something important. Sarah didn't break me. She tried to, but she didn't. Instead, she showed me how strong I actually was, how resilient, how capable of rebuilding from nothing. I sold my company equity over time, diversified my investments, and built real wealth, sustainable wealth. I bought properties, started investing in other startups, became the kind of financially secure person I'd always wanted to be. And Sarah, last I heard, she and David split up, couldn't handle the stress of their situation. She lost the house eventually, couldn't keep up with the payments, had to move into a small apartment, working a regular job to make ends meet. David's business went under, and he's still paying off debt from both his failed company and his divorce.